welcome to my channel. My name is Alicia. Today I have for you sort of a Weight Watcher, but not necessarily really Weight Watcher. That's just what I use. Just a video on how I've managed to be successful losing weight and kind of tips and tricks. And honestly, there are so many that every time I keep thinking, I keep jotting ideas down. So there will definitely be, I won't say a part 1, 2, 3, but there will definitely be more videos that I will make. I already have filmed what I eat in a day for Weight Watchers, but really I feel like this is just a general kind of good things when you're losing weight. So a little bit about my weight loss journey. It has been ups and downs. So a long time ago, I would say 17 years ago, I had done Weight Watchers. I lost 60 pounds. I ended up gaining it back plus some. It was very stressful moving from Indiana to California, and so I sort of gained way more than the 60 I lost. So at that time, my heaviest was about 270. I did Weight Watchers again. I lost 75 pounds, which I was happy with, and I kept it off for about 7 years or a little bit more. My dad then passed away 2 weeks before my daughter was born, and my daughter was born 6 years ago. While being pregnant and then dealing with my dad's death, etc., I gained, I would say, 60 pounds back again. And I have been, up until February, for like the last 6 years, I would lose 10, gain 10, lose 10, gain 10, literally. Like if I had kept off all the 10s that I've lost, I would have probably lost 100 pounds by now. I was struggling with lots of things, I think. At the time, I sort of blamed it on the new Weight Watcher program. I didn't like it, so I just sort of blamed it because I don't remember what it was called, because Weight Watchers has had different iterations. But back in the day when I had success, it was slightly more friendly to eating out, having treats, so to speak. So like if I went to Del Taco, which is kind of like a Taco Bell out here in California, I think a burrito back then would have been like 8 points, 7 points. Now that same burrito is like 15 points. So I struggled with that. I also sort of kept telling myself almost that it's okay to have the ice cream, or it's okay to have the pizza. I have a kid, or I don't know. I would make these excuses up in my head of why I needed ice cream 4 times a week or something ridiculous. And so I really don't necessarily think it was Weight Watchers. It was me. And I had to take onus of that. So here we are, flash forward. It is June. I believe I started this program, or not really program, but I kind of stuck with it since February. And I have now lost 23 pounds. I feel so much better. My knees, everything just feels better. I have more energy. And I think I finally gotten to a point where I am committed and I am sticking with this. So if you see me looking at notes, I kind of have a note sheet. I have 10 tips, but in reality, every time I even stop to think, I think of more tips. And so this could be 30 tips long. And so these really are just kind of, in a way, generic tips. I had a sheet for like generic tips, and I had a sheet for Weight Watcher specific tips. Please let me know in the comments if you're interested in either of those. But this is kind of just, I think, good habits if you're losing weight. And I don't know, because I really have no cute visuals, I made these numbers. We will see. About halfway through, I will show you some, I saved an outfit from prior to, so I will show that. I will try, I've never put still images in my video, so I do have some before and after of my face and then of my whole body. So I will try to work that out. If not, I'll just do a screencast on my computer. But our first tip is find a program that works for you. It doesn't have to be Weight Watchers. My recommendation when you're looking for a program is something that you can do long-term, lifelong. In my opinion, if it's a fad, if it's something that's very restricting, at least for me personally, I could never stick with that. So I would say find a program. do you. Do what makes you happy, what works for you. And for me, that is Weight Watchers. I like it because it's kind of like a bank account where you get points every day and you get weekly points, which are part of your program. I suggest if you're on Weight Watchers that you eat your points. But again, you do you. Whatever makes you happy, whatever works for you, do you. But I use my points every week. That's how I did it in the past. That's how I do it now. In the past, I counted every exercise point. I'm not quite sure how the exercise works here. I don't always count all of those points now as far as exercise goes, but I do eat all of my points. And I like that it's a bank account because I generally, my trend has been Monday through Friday, I pretty much stick to my 36 points a day. Pretty much one evening we will go have a cookie. We ride our bikes to the local cookie shop. We have a cookie that takes like maybe 4 of my extra points. And so I save all of my 42 extra or weekly for the weekend. So I have, sort of a more lenient weekend. And so I like that. So I can get treats in, or so to speak. In a lot of the times, when I was frustrated with the new Weight Watcher program, I thought it was too restrictive. I wanted to do something different, like count calories, etc. But I don't know how to work in treats on the counting calories because you end up, I think for me, it would have been like 1,500 calories a day. I guess I could have saved calories each day to kind of have treats, but I didn't really know how to do that because that's not built into the calorie counting system. I would say about 3 years ago or so, I tried keto. I lost 5 pounds a week for 3 weeks, but I don't like eating meat that much, or eggs for breakfast. And so I felt very restricted. Pretty much wasn't gonna ever have ice cream at an ice cream parlor with my family if I was being true to keto. So even though it was massive weight loss, I was choking down some of my meals. So that personally didn't work for me. So my number one tip is find the program that works for you. And it has to be long-term. I will probably need to monitor what I eat for the rest of my life. I feel like food is my addiction. It just happens to be that you need food every day. This time around, I'll talk about the book I used later, and I think I'll do a whole video on that book. It made me realize that I have control over all this. So I feel like for the first time in a long time, this is it. I'm doing this. I'm not going to gain it back, etc. Anyway, so let's go on. That's a good segue into number 2. Work on you. So, I used to go to the meetings. With COVID, you couldn't go to meetings, and it's hard now with a child to find time because I feel guilty on the weekends, even though I shouldn't. So anyway, I've done this without meetings. But anyway, so in a lot of those meetings, they would tell you you have to know your why. Find your why. Once you know your why, you'll be good as gold. I always struggled with that because I know my why. I mean, there's a million whys. I want to be healthier. I want to have more energy. I want to be a good example for my daughter. I want to be skinnier. I want to be able to shop in the Mrs. section, not the plus size. There's just a million reasons. So I had my why. And in the past, when I was successful those last 2 times, it was like something just clicked and I did it. So this last 6 years, I've been waiting for like something to click and it was just not going to click. So I think you really, instead of finding a why, because I think many of us can list a lot of reasons why, and I would be so motivated for a few weeks, lose 10 pounds, and then I would just go off the rails and gain it back. So I had asked for book recommendations on the Weight Watcher app. You could kind of post and things. This was one of the books somebody recommended. There's only 2 people who responded. Chasing Cupcakes. I absolutely, hands down, recommend this book if you are getting in your own way for any goals. It does not have to be weight loss, but a lot of the examples are weight loss. I would say maybe like 60% of the examples are weight loss, but there are also other examples. So if you have goals you want to reach, but you're not reaching because you are getting in your way, I can't recommend Chasing Cupcakes enough. I'm going to do a separate video on Chasing Cupcakes, but this has changed my life. Changed it. So I had a unique thing at work this year where we had lots of breaks because they had to sanitize classrooms. So I would read a chapter a day. This is one where at the end of the chapters there are questions. So I've treated it like a workbook. I had a notebook where I would answer the questions. I would write down main thoughts. I've read this book 3 times, and I'm not kidding. So the first time through, I literally word for word answered every question, and then on the other iterations I was more like skimming, but I was still writing down like the important parts. This helps you work through you and basically shows how I was in my way for the last 6 years. It wasn't Weight Watchers, it wasn't my daughter or me. I was convincing myself I either couldn't do it, or I needed the pizza, or I needed the ice cream. I can't recommend this book enough. It is by Elizabeth Benton. She even has programs. They were too expensive for me. I had thought about joining. She has different programs. But Chasing Cupcakes, I think it was around $16 to $20 on Amazon. I can't recommend this enough. This works on you. So that would be my tip number 2, is you have to work on you. And that could be many different things for many different people, but find a motivating book. I have other books that I've found motivating, but this really worked through me. I'm in control of my thoughts, my actions, and I honestly can't recommend this enough if you have any goal that you are not going. Some of the examples are like budget. Are you spending too much? There's different ones like business, work. So highly recommend this. I think this is way more than just a weight loss book, but that's my tip number 2. You have to work on you. There's a reason you're overeating. And so until you fix that, you may not fix the rest of it. So Chasing Cupcakes, absolutely 100% recommend. All right, so now we're on to number 3. And this is, if there is something that's a tradition in your family, or like you have taco night every week, or you have pizza night every week, find a way to incorporate that in your diet. It shouldn't be a diet. This needs to be a lifestyle. So no matter what plan you're on, Weight Watchers or counting calories, if there's something you love, you need to find a way to make that happen. Almost every Saturday, we go to a local pancake house. My husband and I split the chili omelet, and I get a side of pancakes. We generally follow that up with a hike. But anyway, that's not relevant. Those pancakes, for whatever reason, are just the best restaurant pancakes I've ever had. It's something I want. So most of the time on Saturdays, we have breakfast out, and then we go for a hike or do whatever we're going to do. That's important to me. I count those points. It's worth it to me. Like I said, those 42 extra, and they're not extra, but they're part of my plan. I use them for things like that. Ice cream, or the cookie like I was talking about. It's important to me that we have an ice cream parlor, one that's in-house made, small business, down the street, like a 10-minute walk. So we will walk to ice cream. So I save points for those specific things. I want to be able to have treats with my family. The key though is treats. That was something that I somehow convinced myself in the last six years, is that everybody has ice cream 5 times a week. No, they don't. Some people do. And that's fine if that's what you do. But I had to kind of rein myself in. Ice cream should be a treat. Pizza should be a treat. I shouldn't be having like pizza 7 days a week. So that's my recommendation, is if you love it, find a way to incorporate it in. That could look making it healthier. Maybe you make low-fat or healthier tacos, or shell-less tacos or something. Or maybe regular tacos, however you have them, is what you need. So then you adjust for it. You have a lighter lunch, or you have a lighter breakfast. But find a way to incorporate it. Because if you're not going to be satisfied, if you're always craving things or whatnot, you're not going to stick to it. And see, there's another one with the cravings. I could think of a million things to talk about. I am definitely a sweet tooth person. When I wasn't moderating what I ate, I would eat, and I would have sugar cravings. Like my body would just crave more and more. So it takes a while to get rid of that. But that is gone. I don't have that anymore. All right, I could just keep thinking and thinking of things to talk about. All right, tip number 4 is to start with small goals. Write them down, commit to them. I sort of had bigger umbrella goals, and then I had weekly goals. And so I have an example, but like, so these are an example of sort of weekly goals. Hopefully you can read them. I think number 1 is 100% track. Number 2 for me was no more than 3 days with Diet Coke. And then the last one is get, 5 out of 7 days of my steps. When I first started, my first week, my goals, I think literally was, I forget, it was like only have a sweet treat 3 times that week. And we had gotten in the habit of way too many ice creams, way too many cookies. So for me, that was a realistic goal, to not do that more than 3 times. And in the beginning, I may have had 5 goals. I made some of them where I knew I was going to reach them. No matter what, I knew that I could attain that. Because I think you need that momentum. You need to make goals that you know you can reach. Yes, you need to have some that stretch you as well, but you don't want to make like 5 impossible goals, so then you feel like crap when you don't reach them. All right, I have never had that happen. So my camera randomly had a red exclamation set and said it was overheating. So I know that this is not going to be cohesive because I've now lost my train of thought. I really don't know what I was saying. I was in the middle of talking about goals, so I apologize. But anyway, I know I was talking about I had overarching goals. So my highest in this last school year, I'm a teacher, was probably close to 260. And that was starting to bother me. I think it was more like 258. And so I had just on my own with sort of moderation had come down a little bit. So I started somewhere in the 250s. So originally my overarching goal, I would start small. I know I want to be below 210. That's my ultimate goal. That's where I was before. Maybe I'll go lower this time, but I was happy in the 2 to 205 range. And again, that's where I feel like you have to do you. If I listened to like the medical, BMI or whatever that is, I would need to be like 150. I was 150 in high school. I don't see me ever being 150. I'm almost 5'9". So for me, I don't think that's a realistic goal. I felt really awesome in the 190s, but it was hard for me to maintain. But I feel like I have a different mindset now, so I don't know. So anyway, it's okay to have a large goal, but sometimes that can make it hard for you, like it just seems so far away. If I'm 255, 200 seems like so far away. So my first overarching goal was to be in the 240s. And then I wanted to be in the 230s, and I'm now in the 230s. So I'm next looking at the 220s. I'm getting really close to being in the 220s. So I would chunk it. So again, my recommendation for small goals is to have goals each week. For me, it was always 100% track, be on track. Generally, because I react weird to caffeine, that's a whole nother story. In the beginning, there was a lot of like limiting caffeine. Steps were involved, but whatever, it can even be non-weight related. But I would make small goals each week that I committed to. If I wrote that down on that paper, I was going to get those goals. And then again, bigger ones, like I said, 240s, 230s, 220s. One of my big goals is to be in Mrs. Clothing. And I'm kind of there in the extra large, some to extra large at Kohl's. I will say, if I'm being honest, I feel like clothing sizes have gotten more encompassing than they were. Because back when I was at the 205 mark, I was an extra large. Across the board, any store, for the most part, I would fit an extra large. And so the fact that I can fit some extra larges already at like Kohl's and Target and such, I feel like they've gotten bigger over the last 10 years, but I don't know. I will say that I am excited that I have to go shopping because my clothes are getting too small. All right. So now we're on to tip 5. And this one is in the first weeks, be more militant, be more hardcore. This goes back to what I was saying a little bit ago, where for me, I sort of have, anytime I was starting over again with Weight Watchers or whatever, the first 2 to 3 weeks are kind of like a detox for your body. You are hungrier, you're craving it. It's like your body's almost angry that you're changing things. So I feel like everybody's different. I would say I was maybe 6 weeks in before I felt, okay, I can breathe, I'm not going to give this up. But I feel like in the beginning, it's more important, or it's important to be a little more militant because you're setting the groundwork to make it easier. And so that would be a tip I have, is that really follow the program, really stay on track, don't go off track. So that would be a tip I have. All right, let's see. Number 6. This is, so kind of like use a self mantra. I did this in the beginning constantly. When I would, after each chapter, I would have a page where I would have a thought page. Like this one here says, I can be successful. I hold the power to make better choices. I am worth it. I will reach my goals. Have a mantra. So here's an example of that. I wrote this over and over again. I can do this. I will do this. I am worth it. The more you say it out loud, the more you write it down, it gets ingrained in your head. So find a mantra that works for you. Positive self-talk. I know we're so hard on ourselves, but we would never tell a friend to throw in the towel or tell a friend that they can't do this. So you need to be a friend to yourself. I literally wrote this down over and over again. Sometimes at school, if there was like the kids were working, I would get a Post-it note out and just write these 3 things down. I might have wrote them down 10 times a day, but until they got ingrained in my head, I really, at this point, haven't been even doing my goal sheet because I'm months in and I've kind of got it, but until you've got it, you kind of have to fake it till you make it. And so I feel like finding a mantra, finding positive quotes online or positive, there's lots of people on Instagram who are writing positive things about weight loss. Find them, follow them, and just positive thoughts, mantra, write it down. You are worth it. You can do this. Anybody can do this. All right. So, and I forgot I was going to stop in the middle. And my goal was to stop at number 5 and then insert some clips. That clearly didn't happen. Anywho, so on to number 7. One good decision leads to another. So that comes from this book, although I'm not sure that's how she words it. But she's big on you have one good choice. Maybe you can't even imagine doing the whole day on track, but you control what you have for breakfast. You have one good decision in you. So make breakfast on track. Don't worry about lunch. Don't worry about dinner. Just focus on that particular minute. And so that has been, this book really has been a game changer. There are many times where I feel like I'm super hungry. Also from this book talks about asking questions. Do you need it? Are you really hungry? Is this going to get you to your goal? So back to number 7, one good decision leads to another. So maybe I'm like really starving, whatever. I want McDonald's. I don't get McDonald's. I go home, I have my planned dinner. It just increases the likelihood that the next time I come to that cross in the road or the whatever, that I'm going to make the next best decision. So every time you make a good decision, it gets easier and easier and easier to make that decision. Often, Friday nights are my spot where like I'm hungry, I'm really ready. Like I said, Monday through Friday, I stick to my points. Saturday and Sunday, I use the points to kind of indulge, but it's not indulging because I saved the points. So Friday night, often, I have to be like, no, I'm going to wait till Saturday. I don't need it right now. I have to talk myself through it. But every time you make the good choice, or I shouldn't say really good, it's not good or bad, but you make the better choice for your health, it gets easier and easier. So go one decision at a time. Anyway, that though goes hand in hand with number 8. It's okay to not be perfect. I was really big in that in the past Weight Watchers where I had to be perfect. I had to know the exact points. I had to be within my points, or it was all or none. Like if this week I couldn't be perfect, then I would literally throw the whole week out and just go about eating whatever the heck I wanted. And this book also does a lot with that. One of the examples she gives is if you were late to school to pick up your child, you wouldn't just leave them there overnight. Just because you're late doesn't mean you don't show up. So it's okay to not be perfect. And that looks like different things for different people. There was early on when I was doing this, I do a lot of subscription boxes. So we had gotten, I think it was like an Easter box, maybe a Valentine's box, but there were chocolates. I wanted a few. And so I had a few, literally like a small handful. I didn't count it. I didn't worry about it. I didn't even let it register. Whereas before, I would have had the handful of chocolates. I gave the rest to my husband that day. I would have just eat the whole thing, and I would have spent the next week binging or indulging because I couldn't be perfect, so I would just ruin the whole week. And so it's okay to not be perfect. If you mess up at dinner and you have, 5 pieces of pizza instead of the 2 you planned, move on. You can track it. Some people are big into tracking. You could just move on. Forget it ever happened and get right back on track the next day. Because the sooner you get back on track, the sooner you're going to get back in line. So the only bad decision in the book is if you quit. Do not quit. Just get back on track the next choice you have and move on. I also take breaks, I guess, if that's a word. Like when I went on spring break, my goal was to not just be crazy, like binging and eating, but I didn't track. I ate whatever. We were in Florida. There was a lot of Cuban cuisine. I did not track. But when I got back from Florida, I got back on track. That's the only week I've taken off. In the past, even when I was successful with Weight Watchers, I would take week-long breaks. And I'd get back on track. So it was fine. But I've not done that. I've taken some weekends off. Like my husband and I had a weekend alone without Cora. She was at her grandparents'. So I took the weekend off. We were just camping a couple weekends ago. I took the weekend off. And in all honesty, it's been eye-opening. Again, I would not do that in the beginning. In the beginning, I feel like you have to be very militant and know that you're committed. And I was very scared this time because there have been so many times in the last 6 years where I had lost 10 pounds and gained it back. I was so afraid that this was going to be another one of those times where I just slid back down. That's why I've literally read this book 3 times because I just kept reading it over and over again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So at this point, like that camping, I don't feel good when I eat that way anymore. So I am very much ready for that Monday to come around. So I don't feel good eating that way. And this last weekend, even though I was on track, I don't know. I guess we would go to the Habit, which I don't know if that's even a nationwide chain, but it's a burger chain here. We often do that Sunday after church. Again, I'm counting the points. It's on my program. I'm losing weight doing that. But I'm not feeling so good eating that food anymore because I eat kind of more clean Monday through Friday. So in a way, it's nice to take that, although what I was talking about wasn't a break, but I take a break. I want to get back. I don't feel good eating that way. So anyway, my overall thing is not to be perfect. So that would go with calories or points. So in the past, I wanted to know exactly what the points are. I don't worry about that. I guesstimate the best I can. The pancake house we go to is not a chain. So I guesstimate a chili omelet and 2 pancakes. And the pancakes are like this. It is what it is. Maybe I'm putting too many points. Maybe I'm putting a little too many. But I'm being the best I can. I mean, I'm not putting a ridiculous 5 points for chili omelet and pancakes. I put 18. That may be too many. That may be a couple too little. But I'm doing the best I can. Estimate, move on. You do not have to be perfect. All right, number 9, and this was a big one with me. I really had wanted to do the video way earlier. My goal was to kind of do it at the first 5 pounds. Every 5 pounds or so, do a video. But one of my things that I had to work through, thanks to this book, is for whatever reason, I would let people or myself put pressure on me. So, let's say I told somebody at work was like, oh, you look great. And I'd be like, yeah, I lost 15 pounds. For whatever reason, that would get in my head. And then I would somehow stall because I was going to let them down or I was letting myself down. If somebody would make a negative comment, like I'm kind of leery about even doing these videos because I'm waiting for a negative comment, but I would let comments like that spiral me out. Or if, you know, in the past somebody would be like, should you be eating that? You're on a diet, right? I would like let that spiral. So don't let people affect you. You have control over you. You know what you're doing, what's best for you. And don't let other people bother you. And then the last one, which again I had meant to put a break in the middle here, but that's okay. Find ways to measure your success and reward yourself. So I did not necessarily take my advice. I would say before you start, take pictures. I had to go back today and kind of look through past pictures to find pictures. I often didn't like full-length pictures of myself. So I'm not following this advice necessarily, but I recommend it and I regret not doing that. I wish I would have taken measurements. I wish I would have taken some before and after pictures, or before pictures. Now I just have to find some. I would save clothes. Like as far as like, most of my clothes are gone. One of my other coworkers was losing weight, so I was giving her some. She was from a 3X to a 1X. Almost my entire closet doesn't fit. So I am sort of in the lurch as far as that goes. But I saved a shirt and I saved a couple pair of pants, which I'll try on for you in a minute, because I think that's powerful. Because it feels good to know that every single top was too big. But now that I've lost that first 23, I'm probably another at least 15 before I go down a size again, or maybe even more than that, because for whatever reason, the way I hold my weight, it takes a while to go to the next size. So if I'm ever losing motivation, I can try on my old clothes and see how far I came. So I feel like you need to find something other than a scale to show motivation, to show success. So anyway, I'm gonna end. I will show some pictures before and after. I will show the clothes. But anyway, I wish you nothing but the best on whatever goal that you're trying to succeed. You can do it. Just put your mind to it and don't give up on yourself. Anyway, have a great day. All right, so here is some footage, and I know that this is not necessarily apples and apples because I know I'm farther back in the shot, but this was from 2019 or early 2020. I'm not sure. And then this is from today, basically June 2021. One of the biggest differences, which I know you can't tell because of my hair, is my neck. I am so excited to feel my neck and feel my collarbones. So my neck is a huge difference. My face is also thinner. If I look too close, I don't know. I start telling myself that there's not that much of a difference. But I am really happy with the 23 pounds down. My husband bought a necklace for Mother's Day. Normally it would not have even fit. And it still is shorter than I would like, but there's no way it would have fit 23 pounds ago. So I'm very excited to being able to start wearing the typical length necklace. So these are sort of the best, to me, pictures. Again, I regret not taking better before and after. And this one, I don't really feel like it does it justice. Those workout pants I was in is a 1X, and that was from last summer. And so it's really not easy to tell. And this isn't also an apples and apples picture. These workout pants so this is from today in June. They are an extra, extra large. The other ones were a 1X. So these over here are a 1X. So it's not necessarily apples and apples, and I'm not sure it's easy to see. I do have more definition in my waist than I did here. Again, I really do regret not taking more before and after pictures. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by, and I will talk to you soon. All right, so I am back with the outfit. This top is too big, so I don't know if it's really doing it justice, but it is too big, although I could still wear it. These pants were skin tight, and now they are sagging. Like, I would have to keep pulling them up because they are just very saggy. I feel like possibly I could have kept more obvious outfits. But anyway, this is, I feel like, a great way to measure. So if I ever feel like, you know, I'm not doing so well, just try these things on and remember. And as I lose weight, they will only look better and better.